it's a very special experience to be able to be in Eretz Yisrael on Tu BiShvat. The Aderet, Rabbi Kook's father-in-law, wrote an autobiography, Nefesh David. And in his autobiography, he talks about how he would celebrate Tu BiShvat. And he writes that he would celebrate Tu BiShvat by learning the laws of giving the proper tithes, the laws of Ma'asrot in the Rambam. And you can imagine being the rabbi in Panovich, being far away from Eretz Yisrael. The only way he would be able to celebrate the spring in Eretz Yisrael would be by actually learning the Rambam. It's very interesting that the Kuzari writes that whatever you can't do in action, you should do in lip service. And it's a form of lip service. But the Aderet was very interesting. He didn't only do lip service, but toward his old age, Rabbi Shmuel Misalant, the rabbi of Yerushalayim, asked him to come, and the idea was that he would take his place as the rabbi of Jerusalem. And he spent his last few years in Yerushalayim. And there, he was able to enjoy the fruit that he yearned for his entire life. Today, when we're in Eretz Yisrael, you can just go into a supermarket and just look at what's happening in the supermarket. Very often, we just can't appreciate not long ago, where great rabbis would have to learn the Rambam, Hilchot Ma'asrot, in order to celebrate Tu BiShvat. And today, we can celebrate by just it's like going into Gan Eden, and you have all of the fruits of the garden in array, beautifully stacked, and all kinds, and just everything in such magnificent plenty. And it's amazing to be able to enjoy Tu BiShvat in Eretz Yisrael. Now, more than it's just an enjoyable fruit party, the Gemara here in Masechet Sanhedrin teaches us a very interesting thing. It says, Amar Rabbi Abba, Kevan she'eretz Yisrael titen pirya ba'ayin yafa, en lecha ketz megule mizeh. Once Eretz Yisrael is able to give forth its fruit with a sympathetic eye, that means we have a lot of fruit. En lecha ketz megule mizeh. There is no clearer sign of geula. Rav Tzvi Yehuda used to explain this Gemara, and this Gemara follows the difference of opinion between Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yoshua. And they say, does the geula depend on tshuva or does it not? And then it ends with Shatik Rabbi Eliezer. Rav Tzvi Yehuda would answer, would add that in the Yerushalmi it says Istalik Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer had the opinion that it depends on tshuva. But in the end, Rabbi Yoshua says, and what? And if they don't do tshuva, we just won't have geula? That's an impossibility. And the final line of the Gemara seems to say that there is redemption even without tshuva. So then Rabbi Tzvi would explain that vav of vi Amar Rabbi Amma. Why is there a vav there? What does it have to do with the previous Gemara? And Rabbi Kook would explain that it says vi Amar Rabbi Abba. That Rabbi Abba is saying, well, if the geula doesn't depend on tshuva, then how do you know that it's geula? I mean, if everybody does tshuva and, everybody has their lulav, tzitzis, esrog, and you know that they've got, it's geula. But if they don't have, if it doesn't depend on tshuva and just things are the way they were, and some guys are good and some guys are bad, and you still have car thieves, and you have people that steal bananas, and you have people that are not wearing tefillin. So how in the world do you know that it's not geula? So here it says Vi Omar Rabbi Abba, and Rabbi Abba comments regarding the difference of opinion between Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yoshua. Kivan she'eretz Yisrael titen pirya ba'ayin yafa, en lecha ketz megule mizeh. Once the land of Israel gives forth its fruit with a sympathetic eye, this is the demarcation point. This is the greatest sign of Geula. And I remember when Rav Tzvi Yehuda would teach us this Gemara, and you would think that he would talk about the pomegranates and the olives and the fruit of Eretz Yisrael. And when Rav Tzvi Yehuda would quote this Gemara, he would always say, do you see the avocados and the bananas? And he would purposely say avocados and bananas because these are fruit that are not in the 7 minim. And he's explaining that when the agriculture in Eretz Yisrael excels, then we know that it's in the time of Geula.